Okay, Dan here with Jim and Joel. We're going to do another RoboZone Extra this week. I think we want to talk about Cheesecake.
Why is it called Cheesecake, Dan? What is that?
Cheesecake is delicious. Now, we're talking about bringing extra components to a robot or working with your partners to add extra functionality to their robot. And we saw that this week at the Midland event, where 1506, I believe, brought an extra hanger, got that installed on their teammate for the elimination rounds, and that robot, I don't believe, missed a hang all limbs.
Yeah, it looked like it worked every time. And again, they were picking a lesser ranked team as the third member of the #1 alliance, so the 24th selection in the loop. And they brought their own hanger, put it on there, worked flawlessly every time.
Okay, guys, but I think the big question is, Cheesecake, good thing or bad thing?
I think it's a great thing. Here we see our #1 seeded alliances coming into alliance selection, and they don't have a lot to choose from for their second pick. So this is one way to make sure that their alliance is actually competitive with your 8 seeds that we've seen a lot of upsets in terms of having 3 hanging robots. What I think is a little sketchy is at the end of the match, or at the end of the playoffs, when all is said and done, do you leave those parts with that robot to improve the team long term over the course of the season? Or do you take those back and say, thank you for playing with us? That's where the gray area is.
We usually, our team, Killer Bees, we give the parts away. Essentially, if we donate parts to a team, especially if they win with us, we're going to let them carry those through the season. In the end, it's not really about the parts. We can make more.
Yeah, it's their robot now, right? Like, it's on their robot, it's their robots.
And in that case, I think it is great, and it's really the best strategy in that situation.
Do you ever have any trouble, tactfully suggesting to a team, hey, your robot's really not as good as we wish it was. Let's bolt some stuff on it to make it better.
This is the big other side of it too, right? Yep. If a team doesn't want to cut off the top of their robot to put a hanger on that's going to work, you got to respect that, guys. If they don't want to make these changes to their robot, that's their robot. You need to clear that up before you pick them. I don't think you can ever pick somebody with the expectation that they're willing to take all their hard work, throw it away, and put something else on.
We actually always discuss it with potential suitors that we're talking to in the teams. If we're even considering it, would you object to us modifying your robot to help us win the tournament?
Mm-hmm. I think this is something that we're going to see maybe less as the season goes on here in Michigan. So we know that at early district events, getting that third hanging robot on your alliance is really, really important to securing victory. But as we move on to later weeks, we're going to see more robots that are already capable of hanging themselves. And at the state championship qualification event, presumably many of those teams are going to be able to hang on their own. But are there other things that you might see teams looking to Cheesecake on their partners at the state championship?
I haven't been able to identify any just yet. Maybe some extra defensive systems as we see more creative ways to do that come about. But really, this game is so linear in its objectives that as long as you can get that hanging done, you're going to have your shooters and your non-shooters, and there's no really good way to cheesecake a shooter onto a robot.
The other one that we've seen, believe it or not, is lids. There's a lot of teams who've made shooters. We've already seen shooting as limited effectivity in this game. If you get a gear ingested into your machine, it's pretty much game over for running gears. So we already at Southfield did it with one of our partners, and I've seen it done several other times, that going into the playoffs, they fabricate a lid to cover the top aperture of a robot where if they have no intention of shooting or gathering balls during the match.
So makes sense. Simplify the robot, give them in their prescribed role so that they can, function as that part of the alliance without taking any extra risks. Well, there's some thoughts on cheesecaking. If you disagree with us, let us know. But be ready with a hanger if you need it.
In the end,
next district.
If you're on the receiving end of this, just always think of what would you rather do? Win the tournament or keep your robot as it is. The robots are transient. We change them all the time. The goal when you're there, if you're on an alliance, is to do whatever it takes to work with that alliance to win the tournament. It's more than your robot. It's about the group of 3 and the best thing for them.
Well, there you go. Some thoughts on Cheesecake. This has been another RoboZone Extra. We'll see you next week.